let's move on quickly to our second topic for discussion this morning. We don't have a lot of time to discuss that, but we'll do our best. So on the anti-LGBTQ plus bill legislation, which Parliament passed some time ago, there's been a lot of back and forth on whether or not the president is going to assent to it. And the most recent is a letter that was written from the office of the president to the clerk of parliament, saying that because of some of the, some injunctions before the Supreme Court, the president at this time would like to wait for the case to play out in court. And this happened at a time when the executive was away on retreat. And so the executive secretary to the president is basically asking Parliament to desist from transmitting this this bill.
I think the presidency is thinking like St. George about 4 years ago, when St. George was very clear in his mind that Ghana, as we stand, we have heavier priorities than LGBTQ. It's quite interesting. And I would beg the media to also go back to St. George's earlier statement that Ghana has bigger, heavier issues. And listen, quite frankly, there's one key thing I need to leave with you before I leave here today. A private member's bill, which will cost the country financial damages, ought to be given a second look. And I think that the executive has that authority to determine, per the advice coming through finance ministry, in terms of monies that we'll lose as a country. And I think that we need to be very mindful of that, because if it is a decision or an action that will cost the state a huge amount of money, we're here crying about electricity bill and government not having funds. And if I even think that a decision about a small percentage of people in this country should not cost the bigger population. And what I mean by that is that there are 30 plus million people in this country, and the behaviors of about, let's say, less than 1 million people should cost this nation, was it how much billion? 3.8 billion?
It's not a question of the applications before the Supreme Court.
No, I'm making a case that I'm looking at it from a cost-benefit analysis. And I think that we ought to ask ourselves that question, that a behavior of a small sector of people in this country, which is not up to even 2 million out of the 30 plus million people, should that decision impact the greater number of people?
But if people's representatives in Parliament believe that this matter is an important one and one that needs urgent attention now.
We do. No,
all right? Without any dissent.
Let's be very clear about one thing.
Okay.
It's not about urgent attention now.
What is it?
What we need to also be mindful of is that there's nowhere in our legal system that encourages or asks a man to marry a man. Let's be I think that the media has also not done a good job of visiting the current constitution as the country has in terms of how we manage LGBTQ. I think that there are some adequate laws in place already. Now, the key thing, and I believe that this bill literally should be called, anti-promotion of LGBTQ. That I understand, but the thing is that
there's an element of the practice also.
Well, yes, but the bigger chunk of this bill is about the promotion, which our culture and our beliefs, religious or traditional, frowns upon it, and I really think that the way Ghanaians are so religious, this thing is a non-priority. The church is dealing with this. We all go to church every Sunday or the mosque every Friday, and our religions or the shrine, and our religions are dealing with this.
So you don't think it's necessary?
No, I think that it is important, but in terms of priority, in terms of cost-benefit analysis, and anybody can hold this argument with me any day that, listen, there are 30 million people in this country. The behavior of, let's say, 500,000 people, must that impact all of us
All right.
in terms of the financial repercussions.
All right.
And I also think that why the rush?
All right.
We have manholes in this country. We have water crisis in this country.
Okay.
We currently have electricity crisis. Is that not more important?
Okay.
And I'll beg Ghanaians that, listen, the Oyibos, they are going to the moon. They have things, luxurious things that we don't have.
Okay.
Amenities we don't have. And they have the luxury of time to go and be doing these kind of funny things. We are Ghanaians. All
right, let me move on to Edem on this matter.
That is where I think our focus should be. And to conclude,
we don't have a lot of time.
This is not
I think you made
a
your
battle
point.
between the
Doc,
executive.
I think you made your
Okay.
point. Edem.
I'll end as you have.
Edem.
Now, one of my favorite quotes when I started politics, active national partisan politics, is a quote by a Nigerian by name Sunday Adelaja. And
Okay.
I quote, "For a nation to be truly great, she must first identify her national values, enumerate her virtues, and formulate her value system. But the most taxing of all is to develop a culture in her people that will represent the proclaimed value systems of the nation. For every great nation, for every advanced democracy, for every thriving economy, all of these countries have something in common. Their values,
Okay.
their culture. It is these values that even guides how leadership conducts itself. 4 years ago, 6 years ago, 10 years ago, the Honorable Sam George's position on LGBTQ plus has been the same. And so I disagree with my brother, the Honorable
Shall we play the
Adomako.
video?
When you pick,
Shall we play
just,
the
you
video?
see, the NPP has mastered the art. You have gained notoriety for cutting pieces of people's interview and creating an impression. And Honorable Sam George came out to settle this. And so his position on LGBTQ has always been the same. It has never changed. The issue before us is not even about Sam George or the promoters of the bill. It is about a presidency that is clothed in double standard and hypocrisy. That President Akufo-Addo's hypocritical stance on issues, for me, is one that puts the presidency in bad light, and all of us, people can make mockery of the presidency. What are we talking about? Members of parliament, some from the NDC,
All
from the
members of
NPP.
Parliament.
I'm building a point. Members of parliament, some from the NDC, others from the NPP came together and started promoting a bill. Sam George was not the only person. He became their spokesperson, very articulate on the matter. And so he's the one that everybody, but it was a group of people. I think they were about 8 from the beginning. Some from the NPP. They managed to put or introduce this private members bill. The House, after several months or years of deliberation on the matter, finally passed the bill. And so, as it is demanded by law, they're supposed to send the bill to the president for the president to give it presidential assent,
okay,
or otherwise.
We have to.
We need to run up now.
We have to run up.
If today
Just
I
two
read
more
the letter,
sentences
so
and then
no,
Benin Moda can
1 minute or 2 minutes.
No, you don't have to.
President Akufo-Addo is claiming that because of court issues or the issue being applications before the court, he cannot. When President Akufo-Addo was assenting to the e-levy bill, a bill that places financial burden on you and I, the people of Ghana, did he not consider that there were matters in court? Was Honorable Haruna Idrisu and Honorable Kujeto Ablaka not in court? So the hypocrisy is what we are talking about. That a presidency without principles, a leader without principles, that is about revenue.
All
so
right.
where lies the principles?
You've made your point.
Something that places financial burden on
made
us.
Your point, Adam.
For that one, he was in a hurry to pass it and said, when the court makes a decision, they will look at it. But with this, the truth is that all Ghanaians must know that President Akufo-Addo and Dr. Bawumia, and I will repeat it on this platform, that as presidential candidate of the MPP, do you know Dr. Bawumia's position on the LGBTQ+? You are his spokesman. Do you know what he should come out openly and speak?
All right, I'm going to go to Bernard Mona now.
If Dr. Baumia says that he is not for it, he should come out and state it now.
All right,
the hypocrisy is too much. You are promoting LGBTQ+, and Dr. Baumia is one.
Adam, you cannot say that. You cannot say that. You cannot say that the president or Dr. Baumia is promoting LGBTQ+, unless you have any evidence to that effect. But you're muted, Adam.
You don't know. Okay, what is his position?
All right.
You are a journalist. You know his position.
Let's listen to Bernard Mona.
Tasked to speak, and I speak.
Give me 30 seconds.
No.
In speaking, I cannot be disappointed in President Akufo-Addo's refusal to do what the people of Ghana want. I'm not surprised. Because from the beginning of this whole debate, President Akufo-Addo has taken a defensive posture on this matter. He lies about it. He goes outside of Ghana. He says something different. He meets with European and, United States citizens. His pronouncements are different. When he meets with the church in Ghana, he tells the church that it will not happen under his lifetime. Kamala Harris, the vice president of the United States, got here. And President Akufo-Addo then gave up and gave out the church itself, telling Kamala Harris that the bill that is sent to Parliament is some individuals that have sent it. It is not an executive decision.
Okay, we have to wrap up, unfortunately. The sick tune is going up.
It's not mine. I came here early, and then you come and rush me.
So please wrap up your point.
So clearly, my anger is that Asante Betue to write a letter now directing Parliament as to what Parliament can do. Really? The president sits down and directs Parliament that Parliament can bring a bill to the presidency or not. The presidency is not an Akufo-Addo. The president is not an Akufo-Addo.
The president.
Yes, the presidency. So letters and other communications can be sent to the presidency, whether the president in person is there or not. So a bill can be sent to the president. The president, wherever he is still president of Ghana. He will be notified.
Okay.
What is this?
All right. Thank you so much, Bernard Mona. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming in today. And thank you for sending in your messages. We appreciate it. You're watching TV3 New Day. When we come back, we have so much more for you. Stay tuned.